Is the famous Zemco car in Pennsylvania going away? We'll talk about that, plus more Chili Bowl entries and news from Narc, Mars, Bill Balog, and Garrett Williamson. Let's go. It's Tuesday, December 6th. I'm Justin Fiedler. This is Dirt Tracker Daily. Today's show is going to be another kind of packed news bit episode. Lots of announcements and things to talk about from the past few days. And I'm going to start with a tweet from yesterday from Pennsylvania sprint car driver Logan Wagner. For the past several seasons, Wagner has been the driver of the famous Zemco 1. He's racked up a bunch of track championships at Port Royal. 2022 was actually his fifth. And he's won plenty of races as well, including that big Tusky 50 score at Port Royal in 2021. But yesterday, he posted, quote, "In response to the questions surrounding the return of Zemco Racing in 2023, we find ourselves in a state of limbo with uncertainty ahead. Regardless of return or retirement, John and Pee Wee's dedication to the sport for over 35 plus years is unmatched. Hashtag respect," unquote. When you think about Central PA, the Zemco car is one of the iconic rides, right up there with cars like the Apple Chevrolet 12, the Weicker 29, the Crite 69K, and I'm sure you guys can come up with a lot of others as well. And along the way, John and Pee Wee Zimitis, who have had a who's who of drivers in the seat of those cars, names like Danny Lasowski, Stevie Smith, Jeff Shepard, Kevin Gobrecht, even Casey Kane, all of those guys have been behind the wheel of the Zemco 1. And I know that all good things must come to an end at some point, but it would suck to see that team close up shop. Such a cornerstone of PA sprint car racing, and I think it's another example of how difficult the future is for this sport. One less car owner means one less seat, and it feels like we're losing more owners than we're gaining in the process. It's something we talked about not that long ago after comments from David Gravel on a recent live stream on his YouTube channel. And for Wagner, it would mean he now needs to find a ride for 2023, coming off a pretty stellar run at Port Royal. Something to keep an eye on as the off-season progresses here. Hopefully this isn't true. Maybe they're just going to take a couple of months to think about this and then come back again in 2023. Two more sprint car news items for you. First, Bill Balog is partnering up with Aussie Motorsports and Gibbsville Cheese for next season. Balog has run the two previous seasons in his own 17B out with the All-Stars full-time. Partnering with Aussie will help with added support and sponsorship. Balog has absolutely dominated the IRA Sprint Car Series in the past, and he's finished 5th and 6th in the All-Star standings this past 2 years. He did add 3 wins along the way as well. It does mean, though, that Scotty Thiel's future is in doubt because Thiel had been driving for Aussie with the Gibbsville sponsorship. Balog and the team have not yet decided on a schedule for 2023, but a return to the All-Stars is possible, as is the High Limit Series. Also, after running a sizable ASCS schedule in 2022, Missouri driver Garrett Williamson will chase the 360 track championship at Knoxville next year and add on a big slate of 410 races, maybe something like 25 or 30 appearances with series like the Outlaws and the All-Stars. Williamson did not run at all with the All-Stars in 2022, but did make 9 starts with the Outlaws. His best finish with the Outlaws was a 14th at Pevely back in April. And the Chili Bowl dropped another big round of entries last night, bringing the total to 179 now, with still more than a month to go before the event. Last night's additions include names like Andrew Felker, the aforementioned Garrett Williamson, Brady Bacon, Briggs Danner, Blake Hahn, Damian Gardner, and Chad Baysflug, among many others. According to Brian Holbert, we're up to 29 past feature starters right now on the entry list. There's also 44 rookies and 3 past champions. Those past champions are Gardner, Sammy Swindell, and Tanner Thorson, if you're curious. On this list, we're still missing a lot of the big teams. Now you start talking about Keith Coons, Chad Boat, Matt Wood, Clausen Marshall, a lot of those other big kind of super teams that you expect at the Chili Bowl have not put in their entry. So this, like I said, this entry list will continue to grow and swell here over the next several weeks. You can see the full list over at chilibowl.com. They're going to update that as they go along as well too. We still don't know prelim nights. We're going to wait a little bit longer till that does get split out into the prelim nights. But all the information you want over there at chilibowl.com. If you're a sprint car fan out west, Narc dropped their 2023 schedule over this past weekend. On it are 24 races, $800,000 in prize money, and it kicks off March 18th at Silver Dollar with the return of the Mini Gold Cup. Along the way, there's stops in Oregon and Washington, along with the heavy California slate, and Narc will again sanction the 50,000 win Dirt Cup at Skagit in June. With no spring trip out west for the Outlaws, I kind of figured Narc would add a few extra weekends earlier in the year to kind of make up for that, but that really didn't happen. The Mini Gold Cup on March 18th is kind of the lone addition during the part of the season that has normally been that Outlaw stretch. Curious to see about rides out in California as well, as I've heard of maybe a change or two on the way. And we know Caleb Henry will be in the Midwest a lot more this summer, and you have to think Corey Day will also travel as well. So some moving pieces still to figure out with the West Coast sprint car scene. If you want to see that Narc schedule, head over to narc410.com. And in some regional late model news, Matt Curl, who operates Fairbury Speedway and was a past series director for the World of Outlaws, has purchased the Mars series from Tom Izzo Jr. Curl is pairing the Le Mans Tour with a modified series for next year and is handing the reins of all of it over to Jonathan Clayton, who's been with Dirt Car and World Racing Group for a long time in various roles. Hopefully this will provide some stability for Mars, which has had a bunch of different owners in its 20-plus year history. I'm also excited for Jonathan, as he's one of those names that the public doesn't really know, but he is well known by the drivers and the teams and the tracks behind the scenes. He's been heavily involved with Dirt Car, working for Sam Driggers and with series like the Summer Nationals the past couple of years. Jonathan's a guy I've known a long time. I think he's going to do great things with this series. At Eldora last night for the Iracing World of Outlaws sprint cars, it was bounce back night for a number of drivers who struggled in week one back at Volusia. I mentioned last week that Braden Eiler, Blake Majulis, and Hayden Cardwell all missed the night's feature, but that wasn't the case at Eldora last night. Cardwell and Eiler started out towards the front, with Majulis getting in via a B-main transfer. Points leader Alex Bergeron was on the front row with Eiler, and both of them actually led laps, but ultimately it was fifth starting Cardwell who grabbed the win. Cardwell and Bergeron have a history, sometimes a messy history, including a past dust-up at Eldora, but they kept it clean in the race last night. So Cardwell, the winner over Bergeron. Swindwell Speed Lab driver Kendall Tucker also rounded out last night's podium. Next week, the series takes on Williams Grove, and Bergeron already has a 30-point lead in the standings. He's a multi-time series champion here, and his consistency is just going to be really difficult to match over these 10 rounds of racing. You can watch the Iracing World of Outlaws each Monday night at 9 p.m. Eastern free on Dirt Vision and YouTube. It's a quiet streaming day, just Flow Racing 24/7 and Dirt Vision now on today's schedule. If you want to see that full daily streaming schedule with links to watch, visit dirttracker.com/watch tonight. That's it for the show today. I hope everybody has a good Tuesday. Make sure to hit that like button if you enjoy what I'm doing here. Tell a friend. We'll see you tomorrow right here for more Dirt Tracker Daily.